self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful, fantastic episode. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER _ on point.
And I can be found at Red _ Calamity. Also, we're still doing the listener letter portion of the show. So if you have a question or a Reddit post that you would like for us to look at, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artists, and send it to us that way. Make sure that you take a screenshot of the Reddit post, as they get deleted sometimes. So if you send us a link and the person deletes the post, we won't be able to see it.
We will not.
We have a letter, and I have some posts.
Episodes 246 through 247. Meet Conda Forever.
Oh my God. Must be Colin.
It is definitely Colin.
Okay.
What's up, Colin? As always, what is good, y'all? I've been on a bit of a hiatus, and that's my bad. Life's been a little out of whack, and I haven't even been in my own home for longer than a month over the last 2 months because of personal business. But I was able to catch up on my last flight and yesterday when I was cleaning the house, so I'm back. First things first for this letter, Red's knife injury. Y'all, I bought a mandolin slicer and sliced the tip of my thumb off while I was trying to cut cucumbers to make Hawaiian poke at home. It hurt like shit.
Yes!
And I basically was only able to get a pressure dressing at the ER because it can't be stitched. But overall, it did eventually stop bleeding, and the piece of my thumb that was missing did grow back.
Yes.
It's taken about 4 to 5 months to get feeling back, though. I had a numb spot on my thumb for a while that made me using a phone difficult. You'll be fine. If you want to see pictures, let me know, and I'll send them in next week. It was pretty bad.
See, it's not just me.
I mean, it's not, but damn. I don't want a mandolin slicer now. Thanks for that, Colin. I appreciate the foresight to help me make better life decisions. Next up, Joe Biden. Here's the thing. The United States isn't and probably won't ever be some sort of super progressive democratic socialist country. While the evidence is pretty clear that we would benefit substantially from a system of governance that more closely resembles some of the more heavily socialist countries in Europe, the size, demographics, and makeup of our country, 50 states, doesn't really lend itself to that to take hold here. And folks need to understand that the vast majority of American citizens either are somewhere in the middle or are apathetic and don't care as long as they can watch TikTok and subscribe to OnlyFans. I've met Joe before during my time working at the White House, and I think he's a fundamentally decent person. He speaks his mind and sometimes doesn't say it as eloquently as President Obama. But let's be honest, who does, whoever did, and whoever will? Barack Obama was and will always be the GOAT. Last thing, since I know y'all love Reddit, I got one for you.
Oh, Jesus.
Glad to be back. Looking forward to the next episode. Meet Conda Forever, Colin.
Before you get into the Reddit post, let me just say that, well, you're going to talk about this later in the show, but I kind of got into it with a coworker. Not really got into it, but I hate when I see people say this shit. When they announced Kamala Harris as his vice president, she was like, well, guess I got to find somebody else to vote for. Bitch, who? We have not had an independent. I looked this shit up because I was like, whoa, what? Do you think that's going to make a difference? It's that since 1850. That was the last 18, not 19. 1850 is the last time we had a president from an independent party. You're not going to get somebody else. At this point, it's either going to be Biden or Trump. That's just what it is. I'm sorry. I know you may not like either one of those fucking choices, but you voting for some random third person isn't going to change the fucking outcome. It's not. It's going to be one of them too. That's just what it is at this point. I'm sorry. Like, that doesn't even make no fucking sense. You might as well just not even vote because it's a throw away vote. It's not going to do shit. You're not going to get an independent party president. This it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's either going to be a Republican or it's going to be a Democrat. It's either going to be Trump or it's going to be Biden. That's just what it is.
So this is the thing. Clearly, I'm not talking to Republicans. Clearly, I'm not talking to people who I guess are centrists. that lean towards voting for Trump. Clearly, I'm not talking to single issue voters who, may normally vote Democrat but vote Trump because it's helped your business financially or whatever. And clearly, I'm not talking to people whose politics don't align with Democrats. I'm talking to Democrats who would vote Democrat if they had a candidate that they want to vote for who would vote Democrat, who are looking at Biden and Kamala and saying that I'm not going to vote Democrat. And that's what it sounds like your coworker is.
Yes.
Somebody who apparently, if whoever Biden chose was somebody different than Kamala Harris, would have voted for Biden and whoever they approved of.
Yes.
I think that we're looking at this in the context of a popularity contest because people are only looking at Biden and his personality and Kamala and her personality and their records and their professions to judge them about whether they want to vote for him or not. And nobody gives a fuck about the character of a person. We shouldn't. We shouldn't care what their personality is if they are willing to do our bidding. The right don't give a fuck about Trump's bullshit.
They don't.
And there is not that Kamala or Biden don't have a little bit of bullshit compared to all the bullshit Trump got. They didn't give a fuck it was Trump because they knew Trump would do his bidding. Now, that's more amoral perspective. And I'm not going to say the Democratic Party is a more moral group. I'm going to say that they do the bidding of people that are more sympathetic to people and individuals and groups and people that suffer. Now, we can have an argument or conversation about whether that's genuine or not, whether it's only for power. I'll have that argument with you. But the reality is the Democrats put in legislation that are supposed to help oppressed people. And Republicans fight against that legislation. They always have. They always will. They don't put in legislation for the little person. The Republican Party puts in legislation for the big guy, the big man that's going to fuck the little guy over. And the Democratic Party is trying to limit that amount of power that corporations have. That's my politics. That's what I believe in. And I don't have to like Kamala Harris or Joe Biden to know that their platform will do the bidding of what I believe in. And you either believe in the shit or you don't. And you should vote for what you believe in. It don't matter who the fucking figureheads are for your beliefs. There is never going to be a perfect candidate. There is no such thing as a perfect candidate. And that's what's really irritating me about these conversations is that Trump is far from perfect and the Republicans accept them. Joe Biden and Kamala ain't as bad as people are painting them to be, but we denying them for that. And the reality is, I don't think we're going to find somebody in our lifetimes that we accept. I mean, even Barack Obama, a lot of black people don't accept him. You listen to Cornel West and you listen to Roland Martin, you listen to Umar Johnson on all sides of these spectrums. Obama didn't do enough for black people. We ain't going to find a perfect candidate. What I look at, it looks like a lot of people look at politics as this disjointed, isolated 4 years that don't have nothing to do with each other. But to me, it's an ongoing, long-standing game of tug of war. And Trump is pulling our country in a direction that I don't fuck with. And he's pulling it and he's pulling it and he's pulling it. And if we don't do something right now, it's going to be really hard for that game of tug of war to go in a direction that we wanted to go in if we don't get some balance. If we don't get some balance on some of these courts, if we don't get some balance in some of these seats and some of these districts, it's going to keep being pulled so that when somebody that we want to be in there actually gets there, they're not going to be able to do shit. So if for nothing else, we need, for those of you who believe in the politics I believe in, we need this tug of war to go to the other side. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ain't going to be the ones that fix America the way we want it to be fixed. But at least they won't let that tug of war game be lost to some bullshit ass conservative racist ideals. And that's about half of my segment later, but got it out of the way early.
Well, he mentioned it, and it just, and she got so upset with me, but I was like, again, at the end of the day, it's gonna be one of those two. Like, so I don't know what you feel like you're accomplishing in essentially throwing away your vote. Like, you gonna feel better about yourself? Like, then you're gonna be angry when Trump becomes president again and shit continues going in a fucked up direction. And I'm gonna be upset, and I'm gonna be like, don't say shit because you threw away your fucking vote. Like, that's how I'm gonna feel. So I'm not gonna want to hear you complain about how fucked up shit is going to get if he gets in another 4 years. I want to hear it because you had to do what made you feel good, and so stand in that shit.
And a lot of people keep saying Kamala Harris put a whole bunch of black people away. Kamala Harris withheld evidence to keep people from having their trial. Now, I hadn't done enough research to know if this was an ongoing thing across her whole tenure as the attorney general or a prosecutor. I don't know. But one thing I do know is that her mistake was not putting all of those black men in jail for whatever charges they had. Her mistake was not withholding that evidence. Her mistake as a young black girl in America was choosing to go into law enforcement. Because if any of you out there believe that a black woman was going to jump into the biggest white boys club in America and say, no, I'm not going to charge these black men. No, I'm not going to withhold evidence. And that was going to turn out well for her. No, that's a problem. That's irrational thinking. Don't nobody black get in that white ass system and do shit to change shit about it. So her mistake ain't what she did in that job because she had no control over that shit, y'all. Her mistake was choosing to go into law enforcement. Because you don't change law enforcement. Law enforcement fucking changes you. We get that shit all the time. Go talk to all of the brown police officers that been arrested because of something they did that if their white counterparts did, they would be protected. Talk to them. Ask them about their experiences being a brown person in law enforcement. Ask them about the first time they saw something unethical go on and they tried to talk to somebody about it. Ask them why they ended up leaving the force anyway. The blue wall of silence, it don't protect black people still. And you know what? She made it where she did in her career because she did the bidding of all of those white men. And they got to say, no, it's not a problem because look, it's a black face on it. So to me personally, I don't think it's fair to say that she did all of this shit in this system. I think that is just par for the course. That being said, she ain't applying for a fucking prosecutor job. She ain't fucking applying for a attorney general job. She is applying for the fucking vice president of the United States. If you look at her platform and look at the things that she's put on paper that she hopes to do, judge whether you'll support her based off of what the fuck that is. And a lot of people are talking about withholding our votes because we need power. Listen, I don't think we're going to show the Democratic Party that we have power by not voting for Joe Biden. Personally, I think where we would show power is voting Joe Biden in and then let Joe Biden know that in 2 years when this midterm election happens, if shit ain't going the way we want, we will allow these seats to be flipped. We will castrate your presidency where it stands if you ain't doing the shit that gonna get this country, or from my perspective, this game of tug of war moving in a more balanced perspective. And this is the last thing I'm saying, we can go on. I believe that the way a person respects democracy is found in how they accept that there are two dueling sides that need to find a middle. That's democracy. Democracy is knowing that I'm going to get some and that I'm going to give some. That's democracy. If you're somebody who wants this country to exist solely on your ideals, which it sounds like the Republican Party wants right now, is what Mitch McConnell wants, is what Donald Trump wants, is what all these Republicans who are stacking these courts, this is what they want. They don't believe in democracy. That's a fucking dictatorship. That's one side telling everybody how you're going to fucking live, and it's ruled by one person. I just don't want a country that has the mask of democracy, but ends up being something that a whole other group of people end up having to just exist with because they can't make no rules and make no changes, and it's never gonna represent them. I don't want that shit, and that's just my ideals, and I'm gonna vote against that shit that it looked like my country is becoming. I don't give a fuck who the figureheads are for the other side of that movement. That's my piece for that. But let's get into this letter that Colin sent us.
The Reddit post.
Reddit post from his letter. My father, this is a 26-year-old male. The father's 54. My father is oddly attached to my girlfriend.
Oh.
She's a 24-year-old female. Janice and I have been together for 5 years, engaged for 2 years, and getting married December 21st, if able to. Janice was adopted when she was 8. They disowned her when she was 17, but her whole time with that family was extremely traumatic. So my parents are my child's 3 only grandparents, so they are around frequently. He's 3, the child is 3. They be throwing these numbers in there fucking me up. So my parents are my child's only grandparents, so they are around frequently. My girlfriend is a personal trainer, and my dad started to take some sessions with her, but I figure he's always been into fitness and it helps us out financially. But it's not that it's like as soon as she comes into the room, he's a different person. He's never been funny, but he's constantly cracking jokes when she's around, but it's like he just has to impress her when she's around. I've spoken to her about it, and she'll laugh it off and told me that because my parents never had a daughter, they tried but only had my brothers, and that she's the mother of his grandchild, he's just friendly. It bothers me like mad, though, because if there is something my father is, it sure as hell is not friendly. All I remember growing up is him shouting, and now all of a sudden he's the fun guy. Should I mention this to him? I don't know if it's just my insecurities and if it'll cause issues between my child and parents. My daughter loves my father, and I know it'd hurt her if I caused him to be distant, but at the same time, why should I put up with this?
This sounds more like an issue with him and his dad than it has anything to do with the girlfriend. Like, I've talked on the show before about like my relationship with my dad and how horrible my childhood was because of him. And so I feel like I would be irritated if I got married or if I would start bringing somebody around and he became this person that he's never been, that I never got a chance to benefit from. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would irritate me. And it wouldn't even necessarily be because I'm upset about, you know, how he's treating my significant other. I feel like it would be more of, well, where the fuck was this nigga at? When I needed somebody that was, you know, pleasant and funny and willing to help and shit. Where was this? Like, that to me sounds more like it's an issue that he has with his dad. Him and his dad didn't have the best relationship, and now his dad is this much more amenable person, and he just ain't rocking with that shit. Then it sounds like it's an inappropriate thing with the girlfriend, to me.
I agree. I think that, because at a certain point, he completely stopped talking about the girlfriend in the letter.
Yeah.
You know, at a certain point in the letter, it was like, you know, he make jokes with my girlfriend, and then from that, it's just, he ain't friendly. He be tripping. He's a fun guy now. Like, yeah, his issues with his dad are what's showing up in this. And to be honest, it sounds like, to me, it wouldn't surprise me if he was subconsciously just looking for some confirmation bias. Looking for somebody to say, yeah, get rid of your dad. This is your dad. It'll be okay. Your daughter will be fine. I think that he's looking for that shit. But also, as men age, they get more, they develop more estrogen and less testosterone. And so that's how you see older men being a lot more docile than they used to be younger. And women develop more testosterone and less estrogen. And that's how you see them becoming a little bit more domineering and assertive as they get older. If you see a couple that's what's happening in that situation. The dynamic shift, you know. So I think it's very possible for a father to have been tough when they were young on you, grow up and be not so tough. Um, and not only that, but you may be looking at it from a different perspective. Now that ain't caping for daddy. Now I don't
No,
know
not
that
at all.
he might be a dickhead supreme, and he might be a problem. So not friendly might be something else going on. But if you don't feel like your girlfriend is fucking your daddy, then let that shit go, man.
Yeah, and you may need to address. I mean, it sounds like I said, it may be some unresolved shit you got from growing up with him. Um, Maybe some of the things that happened that maybe you need to just kind of resolve. And resolve don't necessarily mean you and him and sit down and have a kumbaya moment, because that may not happen. But you just need to be. You need to come to a place where you can process it and it not be an issue. Because it just sounds like you're more upset with the fact that she's getting a version of him that you never got.
Hmm. I had that experience. I remember, you know, I talked about on the podcast how my pops was locked up when I was little. And the day my dad got out of jail, he also got married. So again, I have no idea how desperate you have to be convinced that you should go to the jail to meet a nice old guy who's gonna get out in the next year, and you can go be there for him and yada yada. But he got married the day he got out, and he moved straight into her house. Now, to be fair, she kind of won the nigga lottery in that way because while my daddy is a philanderer, he absolutely take care of responsibilities. Another thing is the lady he married when he got out was 12 years older than him, so she was like 70 when he got out of jail.
God damn.
You know, and so I'm pretty sure she been used to a life of niggas that's been cheating on her. So, not to condone cheating. Cheating is bad. Fuck cheating. But he gave her a pretty good life. If you would have saw the house that she had before, you know, he came in and started working and upgraded this situation. It was fucking. It was in every sense of the word a grandma house, and she old enough to be a grandma, so you know it fits. Um, But when I remember the first Christmas, I was still a teenager. At first my grandmama would meet my dad and then we meet up. But then when I could drive, I would drive me and my brother there. And it was about a 2.5 hour drive. But when I got there and we had Christmas and Christmas Day came, I remember seeing my daddy, you know, where you remember on the episode of the Cosby Show where Bill Cosby had all the kids riding on their leg, he was holding their shirt and just like cowboy
Yeah.
riding them like he was doing that. And I remember at that moment being like, damn, like I never had that shit.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get that from anybody. And I remember feeling salty about it, like it's embedded in my brain kind of.
Yeah.
And so that was my experience with that. So definitely, it's really easy to look at something you didn't have and to see that thing being given to your child or see that thing being given to your wife, and to have feelings about it that are negative that make you say, who the fuck is this person?
Yeah.
You know? Because my childhood was we go visit him in jail and him and my grandmama spend 2 hours talking about all the people in the city that's dying and going to jail.
Oh my Lord.
That's what that conversation was about when he
Old
went to
people
jail.
is so obsessed with who done died. It's so ridiculous.
I mean, what at the point that you get as old as they are, I mean, that's all your life becomes. People who like dying around you, like when is my turn next? Type shit, you know.
I'm looking forward to that.
So I think that a person like this really needs to address the issues that they have with they dad, but not with their dad, with their
No.
therapist.
Yeah.
You need to talk to somebody about that shit that's going on.
Yeah.
But
Yep. No kumbaya moment. Like, and the only reason I say that is because you're the one that's having the feelings. Your dad, obviously, he's living his life, but and he's become who he is. you're going to have to process through how you're feeling about the difference in who he is, and it does not need to involve him.
So this shouldn't say my father is oddly attached to my girlfriend. It should say, um, my father is not who I recognize, and he's treating everybody else in my life better than he's ever treated me.
Pretty much.
Help. That's what that shit should say.
That's absolutely right. We're done with Colin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Colin. I saved a bunch of these, and some of these are fucking like what? Let's see. We have a question about groping. We have a question about a father wanting to see his child. A question about a girl who found out her boyfriend has a fiance that ain't her. A question from a 16-year-old whose mom slaps him on the ass all the time, and it makes him uncomfortable. And then a question about, is it or is it not rape?
Okay, rape.
You want? This one is really fucked up. Okay, so the title of this one is "My Boyfriend Had Sex with Me While I Was Drunk, Even Though I Want to Stay a Virgin Until Marriage." She's 24 and the boyfriend is 30. And they've been dating for 4 years. So this is something that he's aware of, that she, We discussed our plans for marriage, and I asked if he was okay with me staying a virgin until our wedding, and he was fine with that. Last week, we bought some alcohol for my birthday since we only drink on special occasions. He only had 1 beer, but I drank a bit more than I should have and got drunk. The next morning, I woke up hungover and naked next to him. I asked why I was naked. He explained that we had sex the night before, and I got upset because I wanted to wait. He told me that I initiated it, and he assumed I wanted it. I feel really weird about this situation. What should I do?
That's a tough one.
How is it a tough one? Explain to me how this is a tough one.
It's not a tough one in the context of, it's a tough one in the context of how she's perceiving it on her side.
Meaning,
does she believe him? Does she believe that she would initiate it herself? If she don't remember shit, do she believe that she would initiate it? If she initiated but was intoxicated, at what point does he recognize her level of intoxication being the degree that he should stop?
Okay, if you've been dating this person for 4 years and y'all haven't had sex in 4 years, and she has been saying all of that time she wants to wait, I want to wait till we get married, and the only time that she is initiating it is after you know that she's been drinking, I just feel like common fucking sense would say, maybe I shouldn't do this shit. If she was sober and she did this, and okay, she made a decision, she changed her mind. But he had 1 beer and was very obviously sober. And if she was drunk enough to where she passed and don't remember shit and don't even remember having sex, she was pretty drunk. Drunk enough for him to be able to tell that this probably wasn't no shit he needed to do. So for me, it's not complicated because of the amount of time they've been together. This ain't nobody he just met that was like, oh, I want to wait. You've been with her for 4 years and y'all ain't had sex in 4 years because she's been serious about this shit. And one drunken night, like, no. I think he took advantage of a situation because he was tired of fucking waiting. He
took advantage of a situation. He didn't take her into consideration. It was definitely morally compromising. But the question is it rape? That's the question. That's what's complicated about it. Is this rape?
Though, because there have been plenty of cases where you have people that sleep with folks that are unconscious You had those boys, I forgot what town that was. The girl got drunk at a party and they all had sex with her and recorded it and shit. And she was unconscious when they had sex with her. Like, for me as a man, I would think you wouldn't even want to put yourself in that fucking situation. Like, especially when you see how that shit turned out and how you gonna be villainized and doing that shit. Like, and then somebody you saying that you finna marry, so you know her well enough to know if this is just her being drunk or if this is okay, well, maybe she just changed her mind type shit. Like, no. I think, and she don't remember none of it. Having sex the first time is not pleasant. Okay. If she don't remember that shit, she was drunk. For her to just wake up and be hungover and naked.
Well, he got a popcorn shrimp. Like, she's supposed to feel that hymen broke, ain't she?
She is supposed to feel it.
Maybe he didn't break it. Maybe he got a micro penis. But Red, I mean, even so.
But for him to be like, well, you initiated it, I thought you wanted to do it. Like,
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, but when I said is it rape, you didn't say yes. That means if you ain't say yes fast, that means it's complex. Your yeses and nos mean something, goddamn. And you didn't say that. You didn't say yes, or you didn't say no. So that means that it's at least complicated enough to think about whether we call this rape or whether we call this just a fuckboy that you ain't got no business marrying at this point.
She definitely don't need to fucking marry him because that's not okay.
But if she only wanted one body for her whole life.
But it don't, like, for people who want to wait until marriage, it's much more than that. So we don't know her reasonings for wanting to wait. It could be religious. She could be a really religious. I don't fucking know. Like, it's more than her just wanting to have just one body. The rest of her life, like, I'm sure. And I just feel like he took advantage of a situation. Now, again, if this had been a situation where, you know, they were sitting up watching, they was Netflixing and chilling and wasn't no alcohol involved, and she did this shit where she was lucid and fucking remembered it. She don't even remember her first time now. She has no memory of that shit.
So I guess you could say it wasn't her first time.
No, that ain't how that works.
I wonder. So, unfortunately, in our society, if she were to say that she was raped and went to the jail, they would use the length of the relationship against her and use the fact that she got so drunk and that he's saying that she initiated it to exonerate any of his wrongdoing.
But I feel like that makes him even more guilty. The fact that
well, I'm not saying that for no. I ain't saying that for no excuse.
Yeah,
I'm saying that part of it makes it like.
Even legally, I feel like that would go more in her favor. For 4 years and not fucking, that's a long time.
No, the system we got don't use reasonable shit for this. They use the fact that she's a woman and that she shouldn't have got that drunk and she shouldn't have came on to him. That's what our society does to women. It's fuck shit. Yeah, like they not gonna look at him and be like, you should have been more responsible, son. They gonna look at her and be like, you know, well, you should know your limits. You clearly he drunk one beer and then you came on to him. Like that's what's gonna happen.
That's terrible. It was her fucking birthday. Of course she's gonna drink more. And like I said, with them having been together for 4 years, I'm sure she felt like there was a level of trust there with him. This wasn't nobody. She didn't go to no random party and was around some random niggas and got drunk and they fucked her. This is somebody that she has been with for 4 years. So I'm sure she thought, I'm safe here. I can get drunk here. The times that I've been sloppy drunk, I have been at home. I don't drink going out, but just because I know niggas ain't shit. And the law is going to look at me and ask me why was I and how much had I drank and all that. So that has always kept me from drinking excessively when I go out. Because I don't want that. I would lose my fucking mind. So all the times that I have been drunk, it's been like super drunk, have been at my home with people that I trust. Right. So again, for me, the fact that he took, this just fucked up, man.
This is my perspective. If I was in this situation and and my woman and I had all of these. My woman had all of these same expectations. I would turn on my phone. I would say, "Hey, are you sure you want to have sex?" And she gonna be like, "Yeah, I want to have sex with you." And then I'm gonna be like, "Is this consent to us having sex?"
Oh my
And
God.
she would say, "Yes, I do consent to us having sex." And I still wouldn't have sex with her
Okay, I was very scared.
because I fucking know that her original predisposition was that she don't want to have sex to marriage. So even in the scenario that everything he says is true, the fact that he didn't take into consideration what he knew her desires were means that he is a supreme fuckboy and that he don't deserve to be married to somebody like that.
No, he doesn't.
If he would wait for her to get sloppy drunk, and then the fact that he had one beer makes it seem like he was kind of gauging the situation. Like if they was gonna drink on her birthday, why would you only have one beer?
Yeah.
That seems shady to me.
Yep.
I mean, for it to be pointed out that he had one beer means that she know he drink more than that often.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I just think it's a really fucked up situation. Because he didn't take her into consideration. She lost an experience in a moment that she should have been able to have the way she wanted it to. And frankly, I hope she leave him the fuck alone. But probably ain't gonna be that easy for her. She's
Probably
still young.
not. Yeah, she is still young, but that just gave me the creeps. Like, because after 4 years, I'm sure you would expect that you would be able to trust this person. And she got drunk because she could. She felt like she could. Meanwhile, this nigga sitting over there plotting on her. Bullshit.
I might let her give me a handy J or a little licky licky. But I ain't deep diving. I ain't doing that. Because technically she would still have her virginity after those other things.
So let's go to this father that wants to be a father and he's not being allowed to.
Okay.
The reason that I chose this one is because they are both 15 years old.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's the one writing in. He says, I want to be a part of my child's life, but now how that's possible? But know how that's I don't know how this is possible is what I'm sure he meant. He left out a word. He's 15. Yes, you read that right. I'm 15 and I'm the father of a 10-month-old baby girl. The mother is also 15. Before you ask, we took the precautions, sir. Did y'all take the precautions? Did you really? She was on the pill and we used the condom, but against all odds, she got pregnant. She didn't want to get an abortion and her parents truly didn't care. As soon as she gave birth, her parents and grandparents made a deal and her and the baby were sent to live with her grandparents who live 5 hours away from the city. Her family doesn't know I'm the father and my parents have not a clue about all of this. Sir, I want to be in my child's life. My daddy ain't raised me and I made a pact with myself that I would never leave a girl alone to raise my child without me. I've only seen my baby twice because of the distance, once before she left and once when I got one of my older friends to drive me the distance. I am in no position to help out. Yeah, her and the baby are doing fine with her grandparents, but I feel like I'm betraying her. I can't support her in any way. I have a job washing dishes at my uncle's restaurant, but that doesn't bring in barely any money. School's starting up soon, and that's going to cut off a lot of my work time. I don't know what to do. I'm stuck in such a hard place. I never thought my life would go this way, not in a million years. I feel like I have to give up my dreams, try to find some full-time job as soon as I turn 18 and try to dad. But I'll miss out on those years raising my daughter. Please, if you have any words of advice on the situation, I need to hear it. I'm all alone. First of all, you know what? I started off with the last one. You go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so let me get it right. This kid and another 15-year-old kid had sex.
They did.
He shot the club up.
No. He's saying she was on birth control and he used the condom.
Well, that ain't true. One of them ain't true. I mean, presumably both of them ain't true. Like he said, I used the condom, and he's saying the condom didn't break.
No.
You know what? At this point, I'm wondering how this kid know that. I wonder how the kid know that it's his kid.
Maybe, I mean, they were, I don't know.
If he's saying he used the condom and on birth control, because I've used a condom that's broken before.
Mhm.
I could say that the condom broke this time that I had sex. He's not saying the condom broke. He said they used the condom and she had birth control.
He said against all odds.
So she clearly didn't have birth control, or birth control failed in this instance. But if he wore a condom and he finished and pulled out and it didn't break and it wasn't broken, that ain't your baby, sir. You know what? A 15-year-old might be naive enough to think that it's his baby. And a 15-year-old girl might be self-conscious enough to keep that shit away from him and let him believe that it's his baby because he can't do shit to support anyway and can barely get out there. So what is it that he can come out here once every couple of months and I just pretend like it's his kid? Now, if he had let his family in on this situation, maybe they'll be smart enough to say, we need to get you a test, son. We need to make sure this your kid, because this motherfucker done talked about giving up on his dreams. This motherfucker done talked about, just finding a regular ass job so he can learn how to dad. Boy, if you don't take your dumb ass to go get that baby tested or not give a fuck about that kid, one of those. That's
Maybe
what I think.
Lying.
I don't think this is his kid.
Or he's lying. Or he's lying because he does. See, here's the thing. Here's what makes me feel like he could potentially be lying. Because later in the letter, he was talking about how his dad was never around and he had promised himself he was never going to be that guy. And now he's that guy. So in an effort to make this better for him, it's like, well, it just happened. I did everything I was supposed to do. And against all, he literally said against all odds, she got pregnant.
So you think that it's possible that he's just lying about everything having been protected?
I think he was shooting the club up.
He shot the club up, and now he's just trying to make it sound like it was an accident instead of on purpose.
Yes, because a
15-year-old getting somebody pregnant on purpose it's not good.
No.
So if it's the case that he got her pregnant on purpose, and now he's trying to figure all of this shit out, then I'm sorry, sir, you fucked up. You can't have nothing but a learner's permit, man. Why the fuck would you think this was a good idea? If you did this shit on purpose, why the fuck would you think this was a good idea? It's not a good idea. It's a horrible idea. It's a reason why 15-year-olds are not encouraged to get pregnant. It's a reason why you're encouraged to wait until you're somewhat stable to have a baby. Babies are fucking hard work. You gotta spend 6 years trying to keep a little motherfucker from killing themselves. And mind you, 6 is just the bare minimum of where they fucking up. Like around 7, they can survive relatively normal. I mean, they can go outside, ride their bike and do shit and come in. But don't get me wrong, they still stupid enough to get hit by a car up to they about 13. So you spend a lot of time just trying to keep a baby alive when you can't even keep your goddamn self alive. You don't pay no bills. You don't know where your next meal coming from. I guess you do because you work at your uncle garbage ass restaurant washing dishes. So I'm sure you get a free meal there. So you probably know where you're going to get food from, but you don't know where you're going to get food for a baby from. Nigga, what do you even know about raising a fucking baby? Like, do you know when the fuck to use formula? Do you know how to make formula, mix formula? Did you know that the baby got a soft ass spot on the top of their head and if it get hit with something, they gonna fucking be fucked up the rest of their life? Like at 15, what do you really, like he has a theoretical framework around raising a kid based off of the fact that his daddy wasn't there. He only has this system that says, I'm gonna be there for my kid. What the fuck does that mean? Right now, you can't even physically be there. Like, if you were there, the only thing you literally be able to do is sit in a fucking room and hold a motherfucker. You can't provide no goddamn financial support. You probably can't provide no emotional support because your emotions ain't right yet. Like what?
Ain't neither one of what kind of fucking family does she? Let me tell you something. If I had got pregnant at 15, my mama, it wouldn't have been no. I ain't gonna tell you who the daddy is, because she would have been like, oh no, who the fuck? Because all of us is finna raise this baby. The fact that she ain't told her parents that you're the dad. You ain't told your parents you got a fucking baby. Like, no. Just no.
Maybe
It's
she in a
all bad.
family. Maybe she in a family where they think it's one of the uncles or some shit.
Oh God.
I mean, look, think about it. The grandparents the one raising the baby.
Yeah.
Maybe they think it's one of the uncles, and maybe the grandparents know that uncles ain't shit, they kids ain't shit, and they was like, "Baby, who did this to you?" I ain't gonna tell your grandma, and they like, "Oh, it's had to be goddamn Charlie ass. Had to be Charlie. Knew we shouldn't have left that baby alone with Charlie them weekends. She ain't even telling us. It gotta be somebody we, you know what I'm saying? So like, ain't no telling that. Like that's what happened. The grandparents is raising this baby because they think it's their kid that done abused this girl, and they don't know that it's a dumbass 15-year-old who done shot the club up because he want to show that he could be a better daddy than he was, but he didn't think that shit through. He didn't
Well,
think
maybe
that
he
shit
didn't think
through.
he thought her parents, because apparently when she stayed with her parents, they lived close enough for them to make a baby. So maybe he didn't think her parents would ship her off 5 hours away to the grandparents' house. But this is why you don't have a baby at 15. The 15-year-olds and their prefrontal cortex, they do not have the capability of planning things out. They're irrational. This is why they just make decisions, or they don't foresee danger because they live in moments. They don't do the foreshadowing. They don't think, well, this could potentially happen if I do this, this, or that. They don't do that. And this is why you don't need to be making no motherfucking kids, because you don't think beyond the baby getting here. And it's not a doll. You got to do more than just put clothes on it. And feed it. Like, it's a lot of shit that goes into it that you're not going to be aware of because you're 15 and you just don't. They don't even have the capabilities of that forethought. They just don't. They don't. And this is why I would get upset with a lot of parents with teenagers. Like, you expecting too much out of them. They're not. If they could think the way that you think, it could foresee stuff the way that adults do, they wouldn't need your ass. They're dumb at 15. They think that they could just make a baby and be a better dad.
Look, this is the best way I've heard it described of how the brain develops for a child to a teenager. So the brain is an extension of our spinal cords. It goes from the back up all the way around to our brain. So our spinal cords develop first, and our brain develops from the back to the front, right? So the front of the brain is the executive functioning part of our brains. So a parent is essentially the placeholder for the front part of your brain while you're under 18.
Yep.
A parent is everything that your front brain don't afford you the knowledge and experience or ability to make decisions about. Parents make them decisions.
Yep.
When they say, you got to have plug outlet protectors so that the kid don't stick a fork in the goddamn plug outlet. That's lack of frontal brain shit.
It is.
When they ask kids, well, if such and such walked off a bridge, would you? That's frontal lobe shit. Because yes, they would.
They would.
They would walk off a bridge if they friendly. They'd be like, oh, that looked like fun. Fucking dead now. The front part of your brain being missing means that you need somebody to help you with your fucking decisions.
Yep.
If you're a grown person right now and you get hit so hard in the front of your head that the front of your brain fucked up, people are going to have to help you make your fucking decisions for the rest of your goddamn life. So a 15-year-old don't have the capability to make a decision like this and know that it's going to turn out okay. I mean, that's 15-year-olds that had, people have kids at 15-year-olds and their kids are successful. But I bet they went through a bunch of hell for it.
Yep.
And young 15-year-old kid, if you did this on purpose, you're going to go through hell for this because this was a big mistake.
It was.
But if you're stupid enough to believe that this your baby, but you wore protection and it didn't break, and like when you pulled off that rubber, it should have been a pile of splooge in there. Okay, it should have been. Now, if it was in that little tube, if you were a gentleman, you tied up in a knot and then you drop it in the trash can. That's what you do. Hit it like Dave Chappelle. Kobe, throw that shit right in the trash can. All right. Now, if you're not a gentleman, you just take it right off and put it in the trash can, and that's going to leak all down to the bottom of the trash can. So when you turn the trash can upside down, then everything going to be stuck to the bottom of the trash can. That's not good. That's not good. That's not a gentleman. A gentleman tied knot in his rubbers, okay? That's what a gentleman does. You tie a knot in your rubber and you throw it in the trash can and you walk out of that bathroom with the confidence that the kids that could have came to be are in a trash can. Damn, that sound bad.
Yes, yes, the fuck it does. I can't need to stop.
And you know what? It make me feel bad because of how many times I've put knotted up condoms in the trash can. Damn. I guess that's not worse than shooting the club up and then using Plan B. And it's definitely not worse than shooting the club up, not using a Plan B, and then getting an abortion.
Oh God.
But either way, on a hierarchy of I don't want to have kids, pull out Game Immaculate, condom, Plan B, abortion. Your dumb ass ain't finna tell me she was on birth control and you wore a condom, and that shit just turned into we finna have a baby. You are disillusioned, and you are the epitome of the 15-year-old shit we be talking about when we say 15-year-olds ain't got no goddamn business making decisions like this. Okay? Young sir, who will never hear this podcast. But you know what? If y'all know a 15-year-old that's having sex, give them some rubbers. That ain't your baby. That's what I believe. I believe he's telling the truth. You don't come to Reddit to lie. You don't come to Reddit to lie about something like that. He probably lying to his friends about that shit. He probably telling his friends, like, I believe it's the truth. When you come to Reddit, you can be anonymous. Don't nobody know who the fuck you are. Why would you even lie? Now, I think a 15-year-old would be self-conscious enough that they still probably lying to themselves. So they may tell a lie based on the fact that they don't want to accept it. But I believe I would lean towards him telling the truth and believing that it's the case.
So you think it ain't his baby?
No, I don't think it's his baby. I hope it ain't Uncle Charles' baby. I hope it ain't Uncle Charles' baby, but it ain't this 15-year-old baby. This 15-year-old wore that condom, and she didn't have no birth control, but he wore that condom, and he pulled it out, and the kids was in the condom. And the fact that she was pregnant after he did that, he probably thinking in his head, oh no, something went wrong. You know, I don't know what can go wrong with a condom in a woman, but the fact that I'm not telling my family and I'm not telling anybody who can give me some substantial input about this happening, I'm fucking myself. Holding myself psychologically hostage to this baby because my childhood didn't have a father. Yeah. Nah, that ain't his baby, as far as I'm concerned. That makes for a better story for me.
Oh shit. This one. Whew, okay. I just found out my boyfriend of 2+ years has a fiance. What now? What the fuck do you mean, what now?
Is that the end of the letter?
No, it isn't, but the title got me upset.
God damn.
What now?
What else can you say? You have said all that need to be said at this point. Get the fuck out of there. Leave. Why? Let over. Next letter.
I'm gonna read what she wrote.
Okay, read that shit.
Pointless, but I'm gonna read it.
Go.
So I'm gonna try to keep this short. My significant other, with whom I've been for a period of over 2 years, is apparently already committed in a 3+ year relationship. Girl. I found this out when I received a phone call from his fiance, which explained that they never broke up. When we met, I knew that he was with someone, but he told me he completely broke it off. I had my doubts, and I guess I should have trusted my instincts. This is the person whom I wanted to marry, who used to tell me every day that he loves me to the moon and back. We were looking at buying a house together and starting a family. Now I'm devastated, and I'm clueless as to why people do that. I do not understand what it is that he had to gain from the dual relationship. It wasn't about sex with me, since we only had sex every once in a while. I should have listened to I should have listened. Y'all should have seen his face when I said that. Oh, y'all should have seen his face. I should have listened to the signs, but I just loved him too much. What now? I don't know how I'll be able to trust anyone moving forward. Girl,
Listen. I used to say mop top all the time, but I'm gonna start saying wop top. All right. If you ain't giving that wop top 3,000 double hand gurgle gurgle, if you ain't doing all of that shit, then why? Of course he gonna find somebody else. Now let me not get this wrong. Let me not say that if you're not giving your man those things, that he would definitely go to somewhere. But at this point that you're trying to deduce what happened, and you know that he got somebody else, you should not be saying shit like, we had sex every once in a while. That's why.
I disagree.
Yes.
No,
No.
listen. He already had he's been with the fiance longer than he's been with her. He added her to the rotation after he already had the fiance. He been with the fiance 3+ years. He been with her 2+ years. So she was like the other woman, not the other way around. It's not like he went and got a mistress. She was the mistress and didn't know it.
Man, I think that. Did she say he told her that they broke it off?
Yes, when they got together, he said he just broke up with, I guess, the fiance, but he never did.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like that could be that woman being messy. I feel like maybe he did break it off and they got back together after that.
It don't even matter. Listen, I'm gonna fuck you up whether it was you was actually broken up and at some point you got back together with her. You still didn't fucking tell me.
But
You
look,
still been having me sitting up here looking like Boo Boo the Fool while you been jumping between houses and shit in the midst of Corona at that.
But that my line of thinking, that's my line of thinking where the sex will make a difference. Like if he used to get wop top from his old lady and broke it off with her, and with you, he ain't stirring no mac and cheese. He ain't even get the tip licked. Then at some point, wop top 3,000 gurgle gurgle gonna come back, and he ain't gonna be able to deny that.
He should just leave though. My thing is, if there's something that your significant other has been giving you, you don't just go get a bitch to fill in that spot, or you don't go get a nigga to fill in that spot. You don't get it from them. Fucking leave that situation. He got a whole goddamn fiance. Leave this little girl alone. You should have told her, yo, I got back with her. We get married. He looking for houses with her and shit.
Why would he do that? He got everything in this equation. He got wop top 3,000 gurgle gurgle from the original one, and then he got his tip licked every now and then from the other one. Like, what? He get everything he want. He got affection from two people. He got probably some financial gain for two people.
He looking at buying a house. So
he getting sex from two people. Why not? Why not get double?
Because it makes you a fuck boy. That's why.
Well, he was a fuck boy when he had just one. He ain't less or more of a fuck boy because he got two. He the highest level of fuck boy you can be. And now all you can have is more victims. And he's got another victim on top of his fuck boyness.
And it probably ain't even just them two. And here's the thing about the fiance. Let me tell you something. If I'm the fiance of a nigga and I find out he got a bitch on the side, I'm not gonna call that bitch on the side and be like, well, you need to stop messing with him because I'm his fiance and we getting married. No, I'm finna fuck him up. I don't even give a fuck about her. I'm not gonna contact her. What am I contacting her for? I don't give a shit about her. You are the fuck ass nigga who stepped out of the bounds of this fucking relationship. I'm not finna contact no other bitch for what? I don't give a fuck about her. I'm finna fuck you up. And you can go and you can deliver the message that you are a free agent now because your fucking fiance broke up with you. You can deliver that message to her. But as far as me calling a bitch, trying to get her to leave a nigga alone, no. I'm not finna call no bitch about no nigga. Not doing it. Because you ain't winning. You think you winning because he made you the fiance? He fucking both of y'all. He cheating on both of y'all. You think you winning because you got a ring on your finger? Girl, bye.
Did you know that there are some women who by default just believe men are going to cheat?
Yes, I know so.
And so they just accept, like, those are the women that do this. Like, they're the women that do this. Like, they're like, he gonna cheat, but I'm the primary. Ha ha, bitches.
I ain't finna be the primary. If I can't be the only, then that's just what it is. No, thank you.
Well,
Fuck out of here.
It ain't like, I mean, I guess I wonder how long the fiance knew.
I
You
don't
know,
know.
like, did she find out in the last minute, like, oh, you got another bitch? I'm finna call her. You know, hey, bitch, he got somebody. Bye. You know, like, how long did she know is the question, because the reality is you do be the only one until you don't. At least from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know
2
about
years?
it, huh?
2 years?
Yeah.
I just don't know how you carry on 2 different relationships. I feel, and that's a part of what makes me feel like he carried on with the 2-year relationship as if she were the primary and the fiance was the secondary until she wasn't. That's the only thing that meant, like, I mean, how many days out of the week was she seeing him? Like, how much time were they spending together?
Well, I mean, listen, I did Gray Shirt worked out of state and he was gone for long periods of time. He could have had I could have just been his Alabama woman. Same thing if you date people that drive trucks, them niggas be all over the fucking place. And a lot of them do have whole situations in different parts of the country. It just depends. It's possible for you to do that given the right set of circumstances. Now, if all y'all live local, I don't know how the fuck you would do that. If everybody live in the same place, work in the same place, I don't know how you would be able to carry that shit on for 2 years. But there are circumstances where I could see somebody being able to pull this shit off just because they're in 2 different places regularly enough where it won't be suspicious that he gone for a week. He gone on business. Meanwhile, he with his family, his wife and his kids. You just wait for him to come back from his business trip, which was actually a family vacation. Like, I mean, it's possible. And hilariously enough, one of my stories today is this exact same situation. Except for the nigga was like, he decided he was gonna do something about it. Hilariously enough. Girl, it ain't what you mean, what now? It ain't no move on with your life.
Yeah, get the fuck on. 2 years ain't that long. How old is she?
She didn't put no ages, so that scares me. She might be old doing this bullshit. Like a young person doing this shit is like, okay, but like older people, I'm like, bitch, you too old for you. What is you doing?
It don't matter. 2 years ain't a long time.
Long enough for you to get fucked up.
Yeah, but now you can go implement what you learn about motherfuckers who cheat and have other relationships, and you can know what red flags to look out for. Or you can take that trauma all the way over him and just assume that he got a bitch the whole time. And make life hell for him until he have to leave your ass.
This is gonna be the last one because I do want to do this one about the boy whose mom slaps him on the ass because that's such a different dynamic. Like normally it may be a dad doing something that's fucking weird, but this is a mom who's doing this. He's 16. He titled this, "My Mom Slaps My Ass Pretty Often." Just sounds terrible. She's the kind of person who will take everything personally. I asked her to stop calling me a nickname once, and she gave me a lecture on why she would keep using it. Another time I cried over an IV because I hate needles, and she forced me to hug her when I didn't want to because I was embarrassed and upset. She said I was taking my emotions out on her. Also, I was very nearly sexually assaulted 2 years ago and have certain triggers like people rubbing their faces on mine or laying on top of me. My mom has done both after I told her why I was uncomfortable with it. Like, I'm cured if she does it instead of the real perpetrator. Now, a lot of the time when we're both standing and she passes me, she lightly smacks my ass. It's only once or twice a week, and it's not a trigger, but it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't want to make a scene in front of my whole family because usually talking back or having serious conversation ends with me crying. My mom does love me and want the best for me, but she's always been a little strict and overprotective and not super understanding of boundaries and victimizes herself all the time. How can I get her to stop without her throwing a fit? Also, how can I stop being so emotional when I try to stand up for myself? Edit should mention she slaps my dad's ass too. It's not child specific. That doesn't make it any better. That doesn't make it any better that she also slapped your father's ass. That didn't do anything to alleviate. Your mom sounds like she has a personality disorder, which those are very difficult to manage. As far as how can you get her to stop without her throwing a fit, the answer is that you cannot. Like, no matter how you broach this subject, you know, she gonna do what she normally does when she victimizes herself and all of that. What you gotta take into consideration is your comfort level. Like, cause this ain't no shit. This isn't like something that just has to happen. Like, stop slapping me on my ass. It's weird. Like, don't do that. And the fact that she knows that you were almost sexually assaulted and she still does the things that trigger you, even though you're telling her that you don't like it, it's not helpful. It gets you upset because she somehow thinks that by her doing it instead of the fucking person who did it before, that it's going to make it somehow better. Hey, what is he, 16? You ain't got much longer. You need to get the fuck out of that house.
So him needing to get the fuck out of that house, does it mean that he shouldn't address it?
No, he should address it. But I think that he needs to be aware of the fact that, because his question was, how can he address it without her throwing a fit? You can't. She gonna throw a fit. Like, I don't believe that there's a way that he could address that without her, because he's already said that she plays victim. She victimizes herself all the time and makes everybody out against her. So I don't think there's a way for him to address it in which he ain't gonna have a histrionic or borderline personality fit.
I don't know. That shit's crazy. I mean, I wonder what could that have anything to do with the personality disorder? Or is that like a lifelong behavior that she done had? I don't know. Maybe she had an a sexually abusive parent or something, or uncle or something that used to hit everybody on their ass, and she just think it's normal behavior.
Well, the personality disorder part comes in where even if you think something is normal behavior, when somebody else tells you that they're uncomfortable with that specific thing, you should have the ability to not fucking do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still feel like, okay, it's cool for me to do it, but obviously this person don't like it. I don't think that she is capable of differentiating between that. Like, she got to be able to do it to everybody because it ain't a big deal to her. That's where I think the personality disorder comes in.
Well, yeah, that's problematic. If I had what would you do if you had a kid that's parent was doing that, and you knew the parent?
Whew. I mean, I would attempt to have a conversation with the parent, especially about the triggering of the sexual assault stuff. Like, I know that you care about your son, and I know that you think that you're being helpful in trying to realign these negative experiences with something positive or something that you deem to be positive, but you're just re-victimizing him every time you do this and putting him back in that place where he was scared and he was uncomfortable. I know you're trying to help, but it's not helpful. It's the opposite. Now, whether that would do anything, I don't know. I would attempt to talk to the parent about it. Just depends on what kind of shit she got going on. But I mean, I think he feels like she's trying to he said he feels like she thinks that she's being helpful by if his mom is doing this to him, that's going to erase the bad person that did this to him. And that's not how that works. It's still triggering. Like,
yeah,
you're just victimizing him every fucking time you do that.
She'll never know.
She'll never know what.
That's what she's doing.
Oh, yeah. What would you do if it was a kid you was working with?
I would work on how the kid can communicate it to the mama, and then try to mediate that conversation. I I don't think I would let the kid do it by himself.
Yeah, no.
I would just give him the power to be able to do it by himself and then be like, but let's do this together. Or at least with me in the room. So that you don't have to worry about the negative parts of this. Or so somebody else can verify that this is how she actually behaves.
Yeah.
When you do that.
That's just I still think it's weird that football players slap each other on the ass. Like that's just a weird fucking thing to do in general to me. So a parent doing that, like why? Man, what are you doing? It's weird. It's fucking weird. Stop that. And like I said, it don't matter that she does it to the dad too. That's a different relationship. Dad might be all right with her doing a little slap ass. Their relationship dynamic is very different. Not to mention, dad also isn't a trauma victim. Whole different thing.
Yeah.
Whole different set of circumstances. So, yeah. Okay, so that's all for Reddit. If you have a question that you would like for us to answer on the show, or you have a Reddit post, please send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com, or find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artist. Send it to us that way. Remember, it's probably best to take a screenshot of Reddit posts just in case they get deleted, because they do. People, they don't be wanting the folks to find out that they posted about this shit, so delete it sometimes.
I have viral posts.
What?
All right. Robert Trump, 72, the younger brother of President Trump, has died at a New York hospital, the White House announced. Response, I see the universe is reminding us all to be specific with our prayers again.
Oh, Jesus.
Next, as a female, your hygiene, in quotes, said by a nigga whose ass cheeks is glued together by boo-boo.
Men do love to like tell women what they need to be doing all the time. It's like, my nigga, who are you? Who are you?
I'm somebody who don't believe in wiping my ass because it's gay. Chicks be talking about how dudes will hit anything. Some of y'all is the anything. What's your favorite black unit of measurement? I'm going to read the responses.
Okay.
Blank as hell. A minute, as in we ain't done that in a minute. Also be there in a minute. 50 lamb.
50 lamb.
Umpteen. A whole, example, a whole out chill. A month of Sundays, old niggas.
Oh my God.
A heap of them. Some, give me some. A grip. Blank than a motherfucker. Used to describe the intensity of something clearly. Then a mug.
Then a mug.
Upper piece. A swallow. Nan, as in he ain't got nan liquor sense. Hella. Around the corner. Pulling up. Whole ass, as in whole ass fool out here. Something, as in let me hold something. Till next week. As fuck. And a squig.
Yeah. Again, it's so funny how black people's experience goes across. Like we could get together with a group of strangers and like talk about some shit, and all of us will know what we're talking about.
I'm gonna add more than a little bit. That's my contribution.
I say 50 limb a lot, so 50 limb.
Okay. You can say please and thank you 1,000,000 times and your toddler will never repeat it. But if you say ass-faced motherfucker once, So
It's the
Moesha,
energy. The energy
is the
that
energy.
you use. That's why they use it.
So Moesha came out on Netflix, and people have been watching it. This says Moesha was a sneaky, spoiled, and overall ungrateful girl who defied her parents at every turn to meet up with hood niggas. Y'all only think she deep because she wrote in her diary while instrumentals played.
I was never a big fan of Moesha. I know a lot of people are gonna want to
Never
tar and
watched.
feather me for that, but I just
Never
I
watched.
I watched a couple of episodes, but it just wasn't. I just wasn't. It wasn't my shit.
Yeah. Why does it seem like the people that ate lunch at 10:30 a.m. and was 18 in the 10th grade are the biggest conspiracy theorists now?
Terrible.
When Big Sean said "fuck a vacay," I feel better at work. I didn't feel that. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. Yeah, that don't sound good.
Oh, it's because he has different. His work is different from most people's work.
This woman named Christina Shelby is in this group. And she said, "Hello, I recently asked multiple people if they would like to throw hands. Upon further review, I discovered that this did not mean pray. My children informed me it meant fight. I apologize to those affected by what I have said. Thank you."
This is why white people don't need to be using our shit. This is why you don't use it, because you don't know how to fucking use it.
This is exactly why.
This is exactly why you don't do this. Throw hands? Throwing hands has energy behind. Like, I don't even know how you could think that was praying.
Wow.
Or maybe it's because I know what throw hands means, and I'm just like, what? This is why y'all should stop using stuff white people that don't. Let's let us keep our shit.
Well, that was my last one.
Okay. So let me talk about this Republican. He's a black Republican sheriff in Florida. His name is Darrell Daniels. In May of 2019, he called dispatch and said he was being followed by someone in a Jeep and he believed that he was in danger. Daniels was being followed by Sierra Smith, a woman with whom he had been having an affair with for 6 years. She was on her way to their regular meeting spot. Daniels falsely accused Smith of stalking him. Although Smith was detained for hours, she was never charged, and Daniels ended up in jail. The Washington Post reported that following a year-long investigation, Florida authorities filed 4 charges against Daniels. He was then arrested. Daniels will be up for re-election in a few days and questions the timing of his arrest. He refused to drop out of the race and insists the scandal doesn't prevent him from doing his job. You used your office as sheriff to try to get your mistress arrested because you was mad because she told your fucking wife. That does keep you from being able to do your job, sir. One thing I take ownership of is, as a man, is my failure as a husband. That has nothing to do with me as a sheriff. The Florida Times reported that Daniels was charged with tampering with evidence, which is a felony. He was also charged with 3 misdemeanor counts of giving false information to other law enforcement officials. Oh my God. Smith, who was a 21-year-old rookie corrections officer when she began her affair with Daniels, is planning to sue the lawman. Smith called the wrongful arrest that took place in front of her 8-year-old daughter an abuse of power, which it most definitely was. How are you gonna say that don't got nothing to do with you being sheriff? You used the fact that you were sheriff to call your fucking deputies on her and get her arrested for some shit that she wasn't even doing. What you mean? Because you got mad because she told your wife. 6 years in, you lucky that she didn't. That you got 6 years. I'm not saying nothing.
What happened, man? What happened? You got away with this for 6 years? 6 years. What went wrong? Like sometimes when you cheat, you got to do it forever now. You can't stop with that other person. They gonna fuck your life up. You gotta, when you cheating, you're supposed to be the best person you can be. Why why people cheat and be an asshole?
I don't know.
When you cheat, you supposed to be all the roles that Shamar Moore play in movies. You got to be that guy for everybody you cheating with forever. You can't get out of that. You can't get out of that situation.
No, you can't.
Why? So I want to know what happened. After 6 years, what happened? I mean, I guess the person you were cheating with could have been like, I can't take it no more. We got to expose this. I got to let your wife know that this is what's going on. I can't take it no more. But if that's not what happened, like you can't afford. Listen, man, if you're gonna cheat, you need to have, first off, you gotta have the money to cheat.
You do.
All right. That's the one thing you gotta have. You gotta have the money to cheat. Unfortunately, a second thing you gotta have to cheat is the trust of your primary lady. If she trusts you, you can cheat. You know, I had my ex cheated on me, my college girlfriend. And presumably she cheated with one of my friends, but I don't have any evidence. You know, but he was picking her up from work in Auburn and driving her to work. Now I lived in a different town, but he was picking her up, driving her to work. And my homeboy had to call me and tell me this. My homeboy, so I flunked out of Auburn. I moved home. My girlfriend was still there working at McDonald's where we worked at. And my homeboy that still worked there said, it's a dude picking your girl up every day. And I'm like, okay, what kind of car he got? And he's like, he got this little gray purple looking car with like the bumper messed up or something. And I knew who it was immediately. And I sat both of them down and I said, what's going on? I sat him down first and he was like, he fell in love with her.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. But I didn't get no verification as to whether they had sex at that point, you know. But the reality is, I trusted him so much and I trusted her so much that she literally could have asked me if he could take her to work and pick her up. And I would have been like, yeah, that's cool. Like, they could have literally did whatever they wanted to do behind my back with my permission, to where when my homeboy called, I would have been like, yeah, I know. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, let me investigate and find out why these things are being done behind my back that should clearly be communicated to me, you know? And so you need that woman's trust to be able to cheat. Also, you need at least fuckboy level 4. This is out of 10 now. It's 10 level system. You need at least fuckboy level 4, but evidence shows that most fuckboys who would cheat on their wife is a level 7 at least. But you need at least 4 to do it. And I think that it's that if you have all of those things together to where you can cheat, the next thing you have to have is the ability to maintain these relationships forever. If you don't have that, don't cheat, okay? Do not cheat. You need to be able to give a mistress a good-ass life, and you need to be able to give a wife a good-ass life. If you can't give both of them a good-ass life, then get the fuck out, because it is a fucking ticking time bomb that is going to blow up in your ass, okay? Like, in your ass. And that ain't going to feel right.
What's fucked up to me is that, what it sound like happened is that she called his wife and told, and he acted like he was fine. Like, I'm not mad. Let's meet at our same spot. We can talk. Meet me over there at the hotel at 6. Knowing good and fucking well that he planned to fucking call the police on her. Like, he called the sheriff's office and said, I'm in fear for my life. There is a car following me. I think I'm in danger. You set up this meeting to set her up, and you thought it was gonna work. How did he think that she wasn't gonna say nothing? That she was just gonna be like, "Yeah, I was stalking him." Like, no, she gonna tell it all. You stupid. This wasn't even a good plan. Like, what best case scenario? What is it that he know what's gonna happen? That she would just get arrested and not say nothing and just go away? Like, of course she gonna be like, I wasn't stalking that nigga. I got text messages right here where he told me to meet him at 6 p.m. at our regular spot that we've been meeting there for the last 6 years. Like, what did he think he's doing?
He trying to be like Trump, man. Trump giving these people the illusion that they can just say shit that they want to be true and it be true. That's what Trump, he giving them this illusion. This shit don't
Trump,
work.
too. He's a Trump supporter.
Yeah, this shit don't work.
No. She
Trump
was
is the
never going to
president.
just take that.
Trump is the president. He can't say what he wants to because apparently a lot of legal shit don't apply to the president in our country. And he got a whole club behind him that's going to say, hey, we'll get you, Trump. But you know what? Trump is going to treat you like you're a black-ass coon. That's what he's going to treat you like. The Republicans are going to treat you like that, too. Or I don't know about him. He seems to be a pretty bad guy. You know, that's what Trump is going to say about your ass because you black. You ain't have no business going into law enforcement. And if you go in law enforcement, the same standards apply as if you're going to cheat on somebody. You need resources, man. You got to be able to know when to hold them and when to fold them. You're going to be in a system that don't give a fuck about you, man. Nobody cares if you the sheriff. Look what's happening to your ass. You thought you was going to simply be able to get this damn woman arrested and then go back to work. Look at you fucking now.
Oh my God.
Law enforcement got to learn their place, man.
So they have a picture of him at this, I guess it was a press conference. He's this like stocky black man with a motherfucking big ass Texas cowboy hat on, which is in Florida, so I was confused by the hat altogether. And he just looked like he just make bad decisions. And like I said, I don't know what he thought the best case scenario was going to be, that she would just allow herself to get locked up and not say nothing. She just snitched on you to your fucking wife. You think she ain't going to snitch on you to the police? You think she not finna tell these deputies like, no, this nigga lying? Especially, and she, first of all, why was she bringing her child with her to their meeting? Because she said that they did it in front of her child. How the fuck was your 8-year-old in the car? This is all bad. Okay, it's all of it is bad, just bad. Yeah, I guess, you know, maybe he tried to break it off with the mistress and she was like, fuck you, I'm telling your wife. He would have been better off trying to like smooth things over with the mistress and smooth things over with his wife and just keep stuff in status quo. Trying to get rid of one of these women, you done fucked yourself up now. You got felony charges and shit. It's not good. And you're the sheriff and you trying to get reelected. And you black. So, like, if this was a white sheriff that did this, he probably could still get reelected. His black ass is not about to get reelected. So with. Done. Stupid. Don't be Daryl. Don't do what Daryl did.
Yeah, Daryl is he's stupid. He's not smart. Okay. Oh. So Darius Sessoms is a killer.
Okay. You have my attention.
I'm going to tell you what the conservative narrative for this killing is.
Oh, fuck.
A black man walked up to a little 5-year-old white boy while he was riding his bike, put a gun to the back of his head, and shot him. Right in the back of his head. Bow.
That don't sound right.
It don't sound right. But there was a narrative going around, and there was a hashtag going around that says, Justice for Cannon. And then there's a long post saying that this boy was killed because he was white by this black man, and no news media outlets are talking about this story. You know, Justice for Cannon.
Where's the black man?
Now, let me continue.
Okay.
A manhunt was immediately ensued.
Oh, okay.
This man was found.
Oh, okay.
This man was arrested.
Oh, okay.
This man was held without bond.
Oh,
and he was about to spend the rest of his fucking life in jail.
What other fucking justice do you want, white people? See, this is what gets on my nerves about them being willfully ignorant to shit. The reason why Black Lives Matter, this is because we don't get that quick justice. We don't get a manhunt. We don't get an immediate arrest. We don't get held without bond. We don't get going to jail for the rest of your fucking life. That's justice. Why would you need to make a hashtag for that shit? He got justice. Fuck is y'all talking about? Oh, this shit makes me so angry. Just willfully ignorant.
And on top of that, other comments are saying things like it's justifying why George Floyd should have died, or maybe why he was in the predicament that he was in that led to his death, talking about his substance use, talking about his erratic behavior and not listening to the police officers, talking about all of that shit. But this is clearly an attempt to divert the national conversation about George Floyd and the lack of justice that the black community is getting from the police, to people who already don't believe it anyway. Like, I think that these people, I don't think they don't know what you just said. I think that they don't even try to process it. I think they actively live in their denial. I think they put themselves in this bubble that don't want to hear none of that shit, and they just keep spouting this same shit.
That shit is so frustrating. Like, Breonna Taylor still ain't got no. Like, there are so many instances of people doing fucked up shit that don't. The families, those people don't get no justice, and y'all want to sit up here and make a hashtag about something like whatever.
So after this happened, I saw a fake ass post by the, I think, Wallace Police Department in North Carolina where this happened at. I saw a fake ass post that was saying that the killer was telling them everything behind bars. He was telling them that the daddy actually invited him over to the house for them to do drugs together, and something went wrong, and he was actually trying to shoot at the daddy, but the boy ended up catching a stray bullet when he was trying to shoot at the daddy. And that was a fake post because the police department had to come out and say the only updates we've ever given about this case is this. But I actually have a friend who lives a community over, and she's saying that that what the community is saying is that Darius Sessoms was the dad's meth dealer. And if you see the picture of the dad, he looked like he might be doing some, recreational, but will kill your ass substances.
That makes more sense. Like, black people don't like, for him to just drive up to a community, see a little white kid outside, get out, go up to this white kid for no other reason than to just shoot him in the back of the head. That shit don't even sound right.
Yeah.
We don't
black
do
folks
that.
don't do shit like that.
No, we don't do that. It had to be somebody he knew. It had to be a situation. Something was going on. It wasn't a random fucking, like, that didn't even sound right. That don't even sound like a believable story. That shit is so, just.
But, I brought this story up because it's been so utterly irritating to hear people trying to create an equivalency between George Floyd and Cannon. What justice in our country looks like is that when something happens to somebody, what's supposed to happen to them from that happens effectively and efficiently. It's not about the mere fact that a black person killed a white person or a white person killed a black person, which is what they try to make it seem like. Oh, y'all are just up in arms because it was a white person that killed a black person. Well, what about when this black person kills this white person? That's not on the news. That's not on TV. Well, it's not about that, bitch. What it's about is the fact that Breonna Taylor can be sleeping in her fucking house. The cops ram in the door and just let off a fucking rain of bullets and not be arrested for that shit and still be on the loose, getting a paid vacation. And we can go down a whole laundry list of a whole bunch of cops and motherfuckers who ain't got charged. We can go talk about Ahmaud Arbery and how his killers didn't get arrested until 3 months later after public outcry. We can talk about how George Floyd's killers didn't get arrested. Killer and those who were involved didn't get arrested until there was some kind of outcry in protesting. We can go down a whole list of black people who have been treated unfairly, had some bullshit happening to them, and justice not been brought to them in the way that it should be brought to them. But you know what? Cannon got justice. Cannon got justice. His life was traded. His life was traded for the life of somebody else's. And in North Carolina, he might even get the fucking death penalty.
Yep. So Cuba Gooding Jr. got he's been accused of sexually assaulting.
Say his name again.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Shouldn't it be Cuba?
I've always heard it Cuba Gooding Jr., not Cuba, like this place.
Yeah, I've always thought it was Cuba Gooding Jr., not Cuba.
I've always heard Cuba Gooding Jr. I
Cuba
don't
sound like one of King Cuba's kids.
Well, the way
From
he
Mario.
the way he's acting.
Mama called him Cuba. I'm gonna call him Cuba.
His attorney. Sorry, got a text, an unwanted text message. His attorney is saying that women with small breasts tend to have a distorted perception of reality. That's part of what his what he's going to use to defend. That's part of his defense. His defense team asked the judge Thursday to let them question an alleged victim at trial about her preference for threesomes and her small breast size. This accuser speaks very comfortably on her blog post about her desire and interest and preference in being in a menage a trois rather than in a monogamous relationships, the lawyer said. So she's accused Cuba Gooding Jr. of squeezing her breast at the Moxie Hotel. So I guess he's saying they're small, so why would he have wanted to? Oh my God, it's just so terrible. During the hearing in the Manhattan Supreme Court, the judge said the defense might be allowed to pursue this line of questioning if they proved it was relevant to their case. Do you intend to ask the witness about the size of her breast? The judge asked. I actually do. She talks about the fact that she's self-conscious about her breast size. She's self-conscious about her hairstyle. He said of her blog post, adding that her low self-esteem affects her perceptions. The judge wasn't swayed, but said if her testimony somehow opens the door, he'll revisit his decision. Yeah, being a woman, being Black, it's just two sides of a losing ass coin. How is that an argument for somebody being sexually assaulted? Well, she's uncomfortable with her breast size, so maybe she's making all this up. Like, what?
But men with small meats do that all the time, though. Like, why can't having a small body orifice change your perception?
Men with small meats don't go around saying that they were raped or anything along those lines. If anything, those men just think that they got the biggest shit. They packing the biggest. Like, they're not going out.
Have you experienced that before?
What?
Have you experienced a man that claimed to be packing but just wasn't up to par?
Yep, I have. It's disappointing as fuck.
Is that often?
No, it's not. Well, it hasn't been for me, but when it does happen, it's disappointing as fuck because it's like.
But what you're saying is that his perception was impacted.
His perception was impacted in that he thought it made him a lot, or he just didn't see how small his meat was. Like, it's little man syndrome, it's Napoleon complex. But that is not the same thing as a woman with small breasts who says she was sexually assaulted. What does her having small breasts have to do with her being sexually assaulted, or the possibility that she was or wasn't? How does that play? What does that have to do with anything?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Maybe he got a small meat, so he knows that it can alter your perception.
What she?
I'm not trying to say. I'm not saying that. I'm just being silly. I'm not saying even in my silliness, those two things can be separate. Like, a person can have small breasts, have a perception of their breast being small that impacts their worldview, and has something to do with their self-esteem. It still don't change the fact that somebody can try to squeeze your titties. It don't change that. And if you didn't want your titties squeezed when they tried to do it, then that is fucking sexual assault, sir.
And her posting about menage a trois. What does that have to do with this incident?
He's
sexual
don't
assault.
have to have shit to do with it. This is what lawyers do for a fucking living. Colin can attest to this kind of lawyer. They're not trying to cater to the truth. They're trying to cater to what our society will allow them to get away with. That's what they're doing. And you know what? The same way for Nate Parker, who they said that, okay, well, this couldn't have been a rape because she actually consented to sex with him before. What he's trying to get this system to do is say that, oh, well, she's sexually out there, so she must have been inviting him in to touch on them titties. That's what that lawyer is trying to achieve. He is trying to cater to probably some old man judge or some old man jury that is going to look at her sexual openness and sexual freedom and use it to say, okay, yeah, this she was asking for this because of these things. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to cater to a broken system. That's what lawyers do. They exploit the brokenness of a system. They don't try to get to the truth. It's the same shit that happened in Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. I know that shit was written, but at the end of the day, he won that case because the lady ended up lying about her age when she was young, and so he exploited the system. That's what they fucking do. They write lawyers to exploit the systems in the goddamn movies. So it makes no sense for reality, but it makes good sense for courts and some old white man that's gonna make these decisions.
It's awful. And it's just you get victimized, then you try to get justice for yourself, and you get re-victimized by some shit that ain't got a goddamn thing to do with this nigga groping me in a club unwanted. Don't matter what I write on my fucking blog or what I write on Facebook. What does that have to do with what happened that night in the club? Like, this shit is, it's exhausting. It is exhausting being a woman and being Black. It's exhausting. It's a full-time goddamn job just to, like, go every day and deal with all of this bullshit and somehow just keep going. It's ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. The world sucks.
Very much so. I want to talk about WAP.
I'm just gonna let you have this. I'm not gonna contribute to this conversation at all.
Why not?
Just because I don't give a shit about it.
You should.
Why?
Because what I want to talk about is the response that men have given WAP. Are you really not concerned about how men are so intent about keeping women from owning up to their own sexuality that they're willing to criticize women who have vulgar and explicit songs, but they're not willing to criticize Too Short. They're not willing to criticize Luke and the Boys. They're not willing to criticize all of these other people.
I'm not, because we just had a whole conversation about how a male-driven system is about to crucify this woman who was sexually assaulted because she wrote something about something sexual. Like, it's the same thing, just less invasive. It's less assaultive. This is them people saying stuff because of a video they put out, as opposed to being questioned about being raped or whatever. Like, it's the same shit, and I'm tired. So no, I don't want to talk about it, but you go right on ahead.
What I want is for women to have the strength and the power to carry a baby 9 with them everywhere they go and to bop somebody in the stomach if they have to, if they didn't want to have sex. That's what needs to happen. In the meantime, the way that, listen, I believe in sexual freedom. I don't believe in sexuality being oppressed, being suppressed, being any kind of word that means we ain't gonna let you do this shit.
Why do we always, when we have a conversation, not you and me, just the world in general, when there's a question about sexual freedom for women, it's always these extreme ass cases. Like, sexual freedom for women does not have to be Nicki Minaj. I mean, not Nicki Minaj, Jesus. I mean, it could have easily have been her. Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion hopping around, shaking ass in the house, talking about vagina. Like, it's all the way. There's so much in between sexual freedom that isn't that, but the only time it gets talked about are these situations where it's these extreme shit. Like, that's also makes me tired.
Let's be clear. When we talk about sexual freedom, what sexual freedom really looks like is probably the woman from She's Gotta Have It.
Yes.
It is done privately.
Yes.
It is done in her own life, and it is done with consent from everybody that's involved. That is what sexual freedom looks like. Let's not make the mistake of believing that Cardi and Meg are the poster children for sexual freedom, because women are sexually free all over the country and don't nobody know about it.
Yep.
But we can't pretend like there are not people that exist in this extreme part of sexual freedom that nonetheless should still be able to express how they perceive sexuality.
I just wish it was a conversation when it wasn't some shit that was so extreme. That's all.
Well, it don't matter when the conversation is had. You know, it's the same thing with Amber Rose Slut Walker. I mean, the Slut Walk. I mean, it's a very extreme way of explaining it and expressing it, but there are extreme people that view these things through the lens of extremities, and they shouldn't be any more invalidated or less. Now, I understand why they're more invalidated, because we have a society that has been where men have decided what is conservative for women. Women used to be property, okay? If I owned you, Red, I wouldn't want you to fucking go out how you want to go out. I'm gonna want you to go out how I want you to go out. All right? I'm not gonna want you to fucking think for yourself. I'm gonna want to think for you. I'm gonna want to control how other people perceive you. I don't want you to choose how other people perceive you. That's what the history of ownership from men to women used to look like in our country. And it's a whole bunch of men that can't let that shit go. Even though we're here, even though we're at the point where a woman can have enough money to write her own song, enough money, enough intelligence, enough clout to write her own fucking songs, to put her own fucking song out, to choose how she want to do a video. She want a video full of bad bitches, which is how Cardi B put it. She got all the things she needs to be able to do this on her own. The only thing that's left in this equation is that men don't like it. She can afford it. She did it herself. She did what she wanted to do. Booyah, men can't stand that shit. And all I am a champion for is being fair. If you don't like Cardi B and Meg talking about wet ass pussy, then you shouldn't like Too Short talking about his dick.
I don't like that either.
I know you don't like nothing. You don't like the word dick or pussy.
Dick is fine. I don't say that other word. I never say it.
You should start saying meat flaps.
No.
What about Taco Tuesdays in the bed?
Absolutely not.
We'll find something comfortable for you to say.
Vagina. I already have it.
No, vagina is not a good word either.
It's what it is. What do you mean?
But a pussy is what it is, just a different way.
No, that is.
It's a synonym.
Term. No, it isn't. It's a colloquial term. It's actually a vagina. It's just something that's used by people to describe a vagina, but it is a vagina.
What's another word for vagina that's not a colloquial term?
I don't know. I just say vagina.
Anyway, what I am is an advocate for the fair treatment of women and the terminologies that are used in these different conversations. That's all I want to be. That's all I want. That's all I care about. And I think there's going to come a time where men are going to have to reckon with the fact that women is finna run this bitch at some point. As long as men keep killing each other, as long as men keep going to war, As long as men keep getting incarcerated, women's gonna run the fucking show at some point. We're gonna be in Gazorpazorp in this motherfucker.
Nobody's gonna. Only Rick and Morty people are gonna know what you're talking about.
Yeah, only Rick and Morty. Now, I really don't care about the song. I don't care about the lyrics. I don't really care about the video. Be honest.
I won't listen or watch either ever again. Like I didn't even get through the whole thing. I was just like, oh, okay, that's what this is, and then that was it. But it's the same thing. I don't listen to Too Short for the same fucking reasons. It's just like it's too much. Like for real, okay, it's not for me. So I don't listen to Too Short. Only time I listen to Uncle Luke is if I'm at a club somewhere and that one song that everybody always plays come on. But like as far as in my personal time wanting to fucking sit and listen to that shit, nah, not me.
Yeah.
Across the board. Men, women, I don't give a fuck who's talking about it. Like, I'm good, thanks.
But that's all I got on that.
Only other thing I had, and none of them are really. There was a rookie, speaking of WAP and dumbass. So, what's his name? Seattle Seahawks cut Kama Silverand. Because he tried to sneak a woman in the hotel amidst COVID. Tried to dress her up as a player. You're a fucking rookie. Why are you going to throw away this opportunity over some vagina? Like, men, y'all have been doing this shit since the beginning of time. You don't get no smarter when it comes to this. You will sell your fucking soul for vagina. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't. He didn't throw away his whole goddamn career to sneak a bitch in a hotel room. You know how many men dream and want to play pro ball, and you got the opportunity and you fuck it up trying to fuck a bitch. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Y'all don't get no. I mean, like, as we go on in history, as time marches on, as human beings get more smart, the one constant is that men will fuck up their whole shit over some vagina. I don't get it. I don't get it. Beginning of time. Since the beginning of time.
Because men use vagina as validation. That's what they do.
Being on the fucking NFL team as a rookie ain't validation enough. Because guess what? Now you ain't finna get no more vagina. Because the reason why she was willing to sneak you or come in with you is because you were a fucking rookie on a football team. You ain't even got that no more. It's dumb.
He'll get vagina.
Same with that he would have got before. It ain't gonna be.
It's not gonna be the same. But if you made it to the NFL, you gonna get some tender cheeks at least. You can clap some tender and bumble cheeks at least. That's just what it is. You probably can get some one night stands. You probably can go to the club and meet somebody and take them home. You know, if you made it to the NFL, unless you let yourself go for the rest of your life, you'll be fine.
How much money he would have made, even if he never touched the fucking field, just being on that team. Like, that shit is dumb to me. That's stupid. Validation.
He clearly decided what was more important. Okay. And so Tinder and Bumble will be fine for this young man.
But what are you gonna do about his pockets?
Fucking work at a grocery store. Bagging groceries like Kurt Warner.
That is a fall from grace.
But maybe, Kurt Warner got, he was working at a great grocery store when he went to go try out and got the job and won Super Bowl. So maybe this guy gonna bag some groceries. Listen, his skills ain't gonna go away. I mean, they will eventually, but he probably try out for another team. I'm pretty sure it's a team out there that need a fucking running back. Seattle might just that. I mean, they didn't need a running back that bad. They probably need to free up some of the money in their fucking salary cap anyway.
He a rookie. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because I don't have a dick. It just don't make no goddamn sense to me. And women do stupid shit over dicks, but it don't be this shit, this level of shit. Like the stuff that I see men do, like the fucking sheriff who then fucked himself. Like that kind of shit is just, it blows my mind. You're gonna ruin your whole fucking life. You're gonna change the whole trajectory of your existence behind some fucking vagina. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And you know what? I don't want to. I'm glad I don't have a penis because it sounds awful. It sounds awful. It sounds like it keeps you from making good decisions.
It's only awful It's awful if you can't break the hymen. Like the dude from the Reddit.
Obviously, even if you can fuck your whole life up behind it. Sheriff, this dude,
Well,
the
my life
countless
is
other
fucked up.
men over history that have it's
Listen,
just ridiculous.
that's society shit. It ain't because you got a dick. It's because you got a dick in America. Okay, that's what the problem is.
What? How? How is that the problem? No, because there are men who go their whole life and don't do this fuck shit. It's because you have a dick that you can't control.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's because it's not because you have a dick. It's because you have a dick and you were raised in a society that has led you to believe that you can have whatever women you want and that the value that women find in you comes from you being able to sex them properly. That's what that shit is.
But we know that's not true. Like, especially in his situation where you are on the NFL team, your ability to he could have a micro penis and be an NFL player, and bitches will be coming after him, sex or no sex, because they see a lifestyle that they want. So that don't even make sense to me. Because financially being able to provide, this is why you have gold diggers. That's why that's a term. That's why that's a thing. It still doesn't make sense to me. It's man logic. I don't get it.
What doesn't make sense to you?
The fact that you're validated, or you feel like you're validated by how many women you can please, when evidence shows you that your ability to please women, especially when he in a situation like he is in, where he's going to be a pro athlete, you toss that shit out of the window, and now you're left with bagging groceries. That's stupid to me. That's man logic. I don't get it. It wasn't even worth risking it. Like, like for some vagina, like.
It's not every man logic. That's what I'm saying. Every man don't do this, and every man got a dick. Every man don't do this, and every man got a dick. So it ain't about that man having a dick. It's about the man having a dick and having these preconceived notions and expectations and ego and all of these other things that he need to be met by connection with a person that he can have sex with. And a lot of those men are willing to risk it for the biscuit. I mean, I don't agree with it, but hey, I ain't them. I don't do shit like that. I wouldn't risk nothing for sex.
Presidents of the United States. Like, it's just, there's not an area that I can think of. Like, you hear these stories from all different politics to sport. People throw their whole shit away, everything away behind some woman. And it just, I don't get it. I don't understand. Listen, to me, it's dumb.
Listen, it feels good to be inside of some vagina, okay?
Okay.
I'm just letting you know. Apparently, it don't feel as good for a meat to be inside of you. All right? Now,
I don't think it's that. I just think that think it's more about what we were saying about the kids and their prefrontal cortex and their ability to think shit through. I just think it's about thinking shit through. I don't think it has anything to do with a dick not being pleasurable. But, like, is it more pleasurable than me being able to take care of my goddamn self? Is it more pleasurable than me being able to have a fucking career and shit? Like,
I'm responding to your vantage point of saying that it is about men having a dick. I'm saying it is not about men having a dick. If you're saying it is not about men having a dick, it's about that not having that frontal lobe shit where they can make the appropriate decisions, then yeah, I'm not making that argument. But if you're saying it's because man got a dick, then to go with your logic,
it happens more often with men than it does women. So, like, I don't know. I feel like across the board, you see this a lot more with men than women.
It's societal, it's cultural. It's matriarchy. Wait, patriarchy.
I was gonna say
patriarchy. I was finna say misogyny first, and then I just said matriarchy instead of patriarchy and misogyny.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Every time I see these stories, like I said, with the sheriff, even just today with these two, it's like, what? So you gonna throw away your whole goddamn career? I don't know how long he's been a sheriff in Florida, how long it took him to get there, how much hard work it took for him to be the black sheriff in Florida, wherever he is. I don't know how much work it took for this little boy to become a rookie on the Seattle Seahawks. But I would feel like The work that you put in to get to where you are is a lot more important than fucking it all away behind some vagina. And he didn't even get to fuck her. He didn't even get to, because he didn't sneak her in. He tried to sneak her in amid COVID. And when they saw him trying to sneak bitches in, they let him go. He didn't even get to fuck her. And probably won't now that his ass been cut.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy. The last thing I was going to talk about was Lauryn Hill's daughter. I'm talking about abuse endured, but that will turn into a conversation that's much longer than the time we got, which is 7 seconds. So we're going to let the episode go now, and we'll talk about Lauryn Hill and her fucking shenanigans at some point in the future.
It's always shenanigans with Lauren. That should be her name, Lauren Shenanigans Hill.
Yep. On that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that being said, do you have anything else on your mind?
I do not.
All right. Well, until we come to the next conversation.
We out.
Holla.